Hi, this is Kaylin Iffert, and I decided to do set B of Investigative Questions. How does track length of roller coasters vary? So the first thing that I decided to look at was the actual track length. So I just dragged this attribute to the x-axis here. So you can see this dot plot basically of all of the possible track lengths of all of the roller coasters. The first follow-up question, um, so you can see how they're varied, and what we can do is add a box plot to show the different some of our different central tendencies and everything like that. So here we have our median. So basically, what we're looking at too is we have this central tendency. This is our interquartile range. And we have everything from this minimum, which looks like it's 200, and then the maximum, which goes up to 7,359. So most of our our standard deviation, so pretty much everything that's like closer to the mean is within this purple range here. That's our standard deviation. Um, and then what we can look into, so we can see pretty much that there are a lot of variations from the mean. We can also include the mean here and see like how many different values are in each of these ranges. So there's 154 roller coasters. The mean is 3,178. And you can see that the standard deviation is equal on either side. So plus or minus 1,426 feet in length would be the standard deviation. Is there a difference in track length between roller coasters that are inverted or not? So something we can do is include this inversion attribute. So I'm going to do this on the y-axis, and that way we can see. So the top there are inversions, and the bottom there are no inversions. So what we see is that the mean of the coasters that have the mean length of the track of the coasters that do have inversions is actually shorter, 2,779, than the mean of the track of the coasters that don't have inversions. So there's a lot of different things that we can maybe guess as to why this is. So something you could have your students do is kind of discuss why they think that is true. They could also discuss the interquartile ranges. This one, the mean is very close to the median. In this case, the mean is higher than the median, so you can talk about outliers and how that affects the mean. The next question is, has track length of coasters changed much over the three age groups from oldest, recent to newest? So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to remove this attribute, and what I'm going to do is discuss the age. So one thing that we can look at if I drag this over a little bit is these different attributes. So now what I'm seeing is the older coasters. I can add a new graph that only has to do with these coasters. So in this case, I'm just going to select the older coasters, but do the same attributes. So I'm going to remove all of the unselected cases. So this is just the older coasters, and I'm going to drag the attribute of the length here. Go back over. There it is. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to create another box plot, and I'm going to add the mean here. So now we can see the actual values. Again, the median and the mean are extremely close. Oh, this actually, let's add the mean. Yep, median and mean are very close. This is again for the older roller coasters. I can also do this for the other ages as well. So I'm just going to make this a little bit shorter so I can scroll. So if I create a new graph showing the more recent coasters, again, I'm going to hide everything that's not selected and go find the length of all of these, and then again also do the box plot, and I'm going to find the mean as well for these. So now we can see the difference. The mean here is 3,129. Over here it was a little bit higher, so actually the older coasters so far have higher lengths or bigger length than the recent coasters. And then last, I'm going to make a final graph just with the newest coasters. So selecting those, and then I'm going to hide all the unselected, create a box plot, and show the mean. So in this case, again, the mean and the median are very similar. The mean and the median are both just around this 3,612. And so what this tells me, if I line all of these up, and I could also do the aging groups all at the same time and do the box plot, so I'll show how to do that as well. So if I were to show all cases here, what I can do is do the attribute on this side, and we can see the differences in all of these as well. So let me see if I can, there we go. So the blue line is the mean. Again, we have the older, the recent, and the newest in terms of length. So we actually see here that the oldest has the lowest, or the mean is the smallest, but we do have this like outlier. The mean for recent is a little bit bigger in length, a little bit longer in length, and then the newest coasters are the longest. If we wanted to look at all of those things the same, going back to the inversions, we can color them by values. So the yellow we can see are these non-inverted coasters. The purple are coasters that have inversions. Last question here, if we were going to ride a coaster that was built before 1980, what would you expect for a typical track length? What about if you were riding a newer roller coaster? This goes back to those central tendencies. So what do we expect? Typically, we're looking around the median or the mean. So in this case, since there is this outlier for the older coasters, I would say that we should look more closely at the median, because that's going to be a little bit closer. I'm also going to show the standard deviation to kind of show the variance for all of them. So we can expect a coaster to be about 2,705 or 2,650 with this variance. So like we should expect most of the coasters to be within this 1,240 feet in length from the mean, this 2,705. So if we were looking at these coasters, we should expect it to be a little bit bigger, a little bit longer. Again, this standard deviation, there's not that big of a shift between these two standard deviations. And then for our newest coasters, it gets a little bit bigger, the standard deviation. So we have a little bit more room to discuss what we expect. There's not a very specific thing, like we should expect this exact number in length, we should expect it to be this long. We have a pretty wide variation here. So, and the standard deviation is a lot bigger, so we do have more things to expect. In this case, I would say the thing with the smallest, the oldest, has the smallest standard deviation of only 1,240. So that would be like where we expect the most accurate representation, by saying that we expect the coaster to be about 2,705, give or take, the standard deviation.